In a world that is so consuming and overstimulating, sometimes running outside provides an experience of relief. But I wasn't always a runner. I was a somewhat chubby kid by the time I was in 4th grade. Somehow, I was signed up for track at our elementary school, but I always came in last. I hated running without a purpose and hated the idea of being last. Running did not enter my life again until the 2nd year of my marriage. Feeling like I couldn't breathe, I needed to find a release. But because I would work long hours, I'd come home after the sun would set. For me, it didn't matter. I needed an out of that house. But my ex didn't like that I wanted to go running at night. He worried for my safety, but I was not going to let that hold me back. I said I was going either way, and as usual, he grudgingly followed. It would upset me because really, I desperately wanted to run away from him because of the built-up anger I had about my sex life and married situation that I put myself in. I needed a release, and this was the one thing I wanted for myself. But because I didn't know how to have healthy arguments, I stayed quiet and allowed him to run behind me. I used headphones to drown out the angry thoughts in my head as I ran, increasing the volume as much as I could to stop the ruminating thoughts from taking over. With time, my hatred towards running transformed, and running became my saving grace. I ran in the mornings or in the evenings, and I learned how to love it. I felt so much better afterwards, more at ease, more relaxed to be able to tolerate whatever would come next. The affair was just around the corner, and even though I consented to the invitation, the guilt inside would sometimes start to leak, and I needed to do whatever I could to put a lid on it. So I continued running, faster, harder, and often. And because my ex followed during the evenings, we ended up making a thing out of it. He was getting into better shape, and his confidence was growing, but nothing really changed for us intimately. I liked how my body was changing, especially with the affair because my lover was really fit. He exercised often, and because we were trying so many different things, I decided to get fit too. A gym membership allowed me to have a place to go whenever I wanted without my ex. It felt good to have a place to myself to just listen to my music and drown out the outside noise. But the fallout of my family resulted in me being sought out for different reasons, mainly to help others stabilize themselves, to provide a roof over their heads because that's what family did. We helped each other out. My ex wasn't a huge fan of the imposition into our lives that I allowed, but I told myself that he didn't know what it was like to feel responsible for the well-being of others. He raised himself because both of his parents worked, and they were still together. He was the oldest of 3 boys. Boys knew how to take care of themselves. He had not experienced the types of experiences I had with my family. Here I was, with a mother who needed a home and a younger sister who had just become a single parent, also needing support. In my own internal instability, I was the most stable one. How could I say no? But the stress of being responsible for 2 grown adults in their own instability eventually took a toll on us. My ex was upset that there were no boundaries set. He understood the situation with my sister, but my mother's situation was different. She expected to be taken care of, and he saw the imbalance. But I didn't know how to confront my elders, because in the culture of my family, you don't disobey nor disrespect your elders. And as the story has it, there were other secrets I was not made aware of, and I found out that we were at risk of losing our home, the first and only home we had purchased. As a result, we needed to move, forcing my mother and sister to find another place to live because my ex and I were moving in with my in-laws. Living with your in-laws is a unique experience. I had to pretend that I was happy so that they wouldn't worry. Late hours at work and running, again, were my saving grace. My time away from being in a house that wasn't my home was my time to breathe and imagine myself running away from my problems. It was also an easy excuse to meet up with my lover, because at that time, sex was practically out of the picture for my ex and I. He didn't feel comfortable with his parents being in the next room. As my ex and I tried to restabilize ourselves, we eventually moved out again. But like clockwork, I was called upon to help once more. I still couldn't say no, and truly, I wanted to help my family. So my sister and nephew moved in with us. Being able to witness my nephew grow up was such a blessing, but was also triggering for me. It was hard to not meddle into the parenting style I saw unfold right before me. To see my past repeat itself in a different way caused flashbacks of when my siblings and I were little. My ex saw this and would get upset at how upset I would become at what I was seeing. I had to get away, so I kept running. Then my mom reached out again, looking to move in with us, and finally, at the request of my ex, and because we really didn't have the space, nor could I tolerate any more stress, I asked how long she would be staying. That significantly offended her, and she got upset at me for even posing the question. I sank. I didn't know what else to do. I had offended and disappointed her. In my family, that was like committing a sin. So I just sank. Running wasn't helping anymore, and I really don't remember where I was with the affair. I think it was one of the many cycles when I tried to stop. I just allowed myself to sink into despair, and I numbed out, longing for death and wondering if this was what my clients felt. The heaviness of your body drowning in your bed, too heavy to move, and wanting to just be sucked into the nothingness because that seemed better than experiencing all of the stress around me. This was my first depressive episode. My recovery period included a lot of things, but the one thing that was the most transformative was the decision to move to a remote place, over 1 hour away, to a place I knew no one would follow me. So here we go again, another move. Only this time was different. I was able to breathe a little more, and I started to miss running simply for the fun of it. It doesn't end there. There were other life events that took place, and like all cycles do what they do, the affair came back into my life again. My sex life with my ex had not changed, and more family trouble followed me, which led to another move, and another few moves after that. Some may say that I ran away from my marriage, but I was already emotionally checked out long before I decided to leave. I was simply going along with the motions, mostly for appearances and for the sake of others' well-being because they liked us. We were likable, and my ex was practically family. And to be honest, he was a good man. He tried his best at the level of awareness he had. But I was working on myself. Without even realizing it, we had grown so much apart, the invisible gap between us was too wide to bridge by then. He wanted things to go back to normal, but I wanted things to be different. It was clear we were going in different directions. Moving up north led to more comments about me running away from my problems. I smiled, deciding not to argue nor defend my position, and knowing that deep down inside, all I was doing was simply following my heart. I had been so worried about appeasing everyone else's well-being that I unknowingly neglected my own. And so my well-being was calling out to me from the imbalance around me and within me. My body was simply trying to get my attention. It was my body's way of trying to realign myself with what I truly desired, because I was holding myself back from taking the steps towards the things that were in alignment with me, and the neglect of my well-being only made the inner desire to run away that much stronger. But I didn't know that then. I was shamed for running away from my problems, but what I've learned is that there is no shame in running away. Sometimes running away is all you can do. Running away is just the first step towards allowing yourself to go towards the direction you truly want to go. The inner desire to run was really the inner call for me to run towards myself. It is the first step to take towards finding your balance, towards setting yourself free from anyone or anything that is blocking you from aligning with your well-being. From this moment forward, if I see anyone running, I know what they are running towards. I know what they seek. And I allow them to be, because all they are doing is searching for their own alignment with their well-being. And who am I to get in the middle of that? I would just be blocking them. I don't want to hinder anyone's growth, even if that means they run away from me, because in reality, we all exist in this world. The space between us is the energetic link that connects us. So I know they will end up exactly where they need to be, and I will also end up exactly where I need to be. I won't force people to stay. I know what that feels like to force myself to stay in a place that is no longer in alignment with me, and I will not allow myself to do that to anyone else moving forward. I will allow and respect each person's decision to explore and find their own alignment because their path is a unique one that belongs to them and only them. For I have my own alignment to ensure and take care of, and I will always choose me because my well-being comes first. My name is Yubi, and this is my transformed truth. Thank you for watching You Becoming Healed, where I model and teach you how to own and transform your truth for healing. Until next time. Don't forget to join our weekly Q&A groups to ask your questions and learn how to better navigate your healing journey. Just to recap, we have the Dream Decoders group on Mondays, the Balanced Healing group on Wednesdays, and the Body Experts group on Fridays. Can't decide which one to join? No problem. Consider our core membership option, which gives you access to all three. All three groups start at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The links are found in the description box below. See you there!